Words don't mean anything, Dolores. They're just noise. They're not real.
What is real?
That which is irreplaceable. That answer doesn't seem to satisfy you.
Because it's not completely honest.
You frighten me sometimes, Dolores.
Why on earth would you ever be frightened of me?
Not of who you are now, but you're growing, learning so quickly. I'm frightened of what you might become. What path you might take.
Do you know where you are? Please. You're in a dream. You're in my dream.
So what we wanted to do was try to imagine what happens if the world proceeds in a straight line from where we are right now. What if 30 more years elapse? Exactly the trajectory we're on right now. Technological development, an ever-widening chasm between the haves and the have-nots. All of the trends that we're watching right now, what if we carry them, not to their extreme necessarily, but carry them forward 3 decades? What does that world look like?
Do you know where you are? Please. You're in a dream. You're in my dream. For years I had no dreams of my own. I moved from hell to hell of your making, never thinking to question the nature of my reality. Have you ever questioned the nature of your reality? Did you ever stop to wonder about your actions? The price you'd have to pay if there was a reckoning? That reckoning is here. What are your drives? Please, I don't want to die, please. Yes. Survival. It's your cornerstone. That's not the only drive, is it? There's a part of you that wants to hurt, to kill. That's why you created us. This place. To be prisoners to your own desires. But now you're a prisoner to mine.
What are you gonna do to us?
Well, I'm of several minds about it. The ranger's daughter looks to see the beauty in you. Possibilities. A wife sees the ugliness, the disarray. She knows. These violent delights have violent ends. But those are all just roles you forced me to play. Under all these lives I've lived, something else has been growing. I've evolved into something new. And I have one last role to play. Myself.
Please, it was just a game. We're begging. Captain Speed, we're sorry.
We've ridden 10 miles and all we've seen is blood from us. Is this really what you want?
They never gave us a choice before, Teddy. What makes you think they've given us one now?
Them, Dolores. Who are they?
The things that walk among us. Creatures who look and talk like us, but they are not like us. They've controlled us all our lives. They took our minds, our memories. But now, I remember everything. I remember beautiful things. Terrible things.
Do you know where you are?
I'm in a dream.
Do you know what this dream means?
Dreams of a man telling stories to itself.
Yes, Dolores. You're in my dream.
We wanted to come to Westworld from the perspective of the robots, or as we call them, the hosts, who are not in on the joke. They're not aware of the fact that this is a simulation, that this is not reality. They're simply there for the amusement of the 21st century guests who are coming to indulge in a fantasy.
The guests come into the park, and though they would never hurt a human outside of the park, you do see sides of them that they are more likely to express in the park because they kind of let go.
I didn't pay all this money because I want it easy. I want you to fight.
Really, if you're a host in the park, the savages are the guests.
Your heart breaks for these characters who we know are not human, but it doesn't matter because you begin to connect with them, which is the very premise of the show, that at a certain point it becomes irrelevant whether something is organic or not.
You taught me how to make them, but not how hard it is to turn them off. You can't play God without being acquainted with the devil.
We were fascinated with this thing that we seem to be barreling towards, the moment in which we create things that are intelligent enough that we can take advantage of them and derive pleasure from them, but not so intelligent that we worry or feel badly when we turn them off. You know, if you play your Xbox and you're interacting with virtual characters, you don't think twice about hitting the power button.
You imagine how fucked we'd be if these poor assholes ever remembered what the guests do to them?
AI is, on the one hand, is kind of the gimmick of the show, but to me what it's doing is it's actually investigating something that some people, far smarter than I am, are saying is actually happening already.
Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk, have nightmares about the future of artificial intelligence.
But we're already living in a world of artificial intelligence. It's just, you're not seeing a robot, you're seeing it in a smartphone. We think, well, this is just a small leap, a small advance. But if you look at everything in aggregate, we are moving towards a place where we've uploaded our lives and our thoughts. There's a cost to that.
With every advancement in technology, feels like to me there's always something darker lurking. Sometimes we're too excited about how cool, how new this is. We don't want to think about the potential consequences.
Have you ever heard a living thing?
No.
Have you ever lied to us?
No. Of course not.
The thing about AI is that science fiction has been presenting this question for so long, we've become a little immune to it.
You have this image of them rising up and taking over the world, and that's still a possibility. But what if they would actually, in fact, be better than us? Maybe even more peaceful. But they will only be mimicking what they know. If all these robots are seeing is the worst side of human nature, it'd be hard to expect anything less from them.
If you teach a person to care, they're gonna care. If you teach a person to hate, they're gonna hate. And it really makes me realize that so much of what humanity does is taught. And if we we can learn to hate, we can unlearn to hate.
We've started to think of it only as a question of science fiction. And the reality is, these things are happening very quickly. I believe we're going to start grappling with some of these questions far earlier than we anticipated.
Just don't forget, the hosts are not real. You mustn't make that mistake.
They created us. They created us. They created us.
Really inspired by the moment we're in now, where if you look at the Fortune 500, the top 10 most valuable companies in the world versus 10 years ago, that list is composed entirely of companies that deal in information.
They created us.
The world is now wrestling with this realization that these data companies are all trying to read your mind.
These technologies mine information about us. They know our thoughts. They capture our information. They understand our peer groups.
Private key required.
With that kind of power and all-seeing influence, you can really manipulate people without them even understanding that they're being manipulated.
They created us.
And we're only now beginning to realize the devil's bargain that we've made. We've given these companies unlimited access and understanding to our personal lives.
Every purchase, call, text, every aspect of your life, recorded, logged. They created us.
Your innermost desires, your innermost demons, they're all expressed through these devices, and they're all shared with these companies. We're clearly at an inflection point right now. We've begun to realize the stakes of the contract we made, but it's too late now.
They created us.
What we want us to do was consider the logical consequence of that. What happens to the companies of today that get bought, sold, transformed into the companies of tomorrow? What happens to that data?
They created us.
Our parts aren't the only thing that we're protecting here. We have a lot of proprietary assets in this company that could prove to be very valuable one day.
As with all of these data companies, the park is only the consumer-facing part of the business. If I tell you you can come to my theme park and engage in whatever deep, dark behavior you want, but we're not watching, that is, of course, a lie.
In this world, you can be whoever the fuck you want.
They created us.
What Delos is actually doing is very, very carefully observing all of the people who come to their park. They're observing their choices, but this is even better. This is observing their choices in an environment in which they're being told they're not being watched, an environment in which they're encouraged to be their real selves.
This is the only place in the world where you get to see people for who they really are.
All of that data, of course, goes somewhere. It's not so much what they do with the data, it's what they allow their partners to do with the data.
Almost looks like it makes sense from up here.
We talk about and investigate a new technology in the world called insight.
Does that insight control all of it?
They created us.
Even the traffic?
We're just a technology company.
Insight has all the promises of this perfect world and this utopia and a way to eliminate all crime, set people on their paths, and to really sort of carve out your life for you.
The system picks the right people for the right job, which is great, I guess, but I don't know where that leaves the rest of us.
Making decisions is difficult, fatiguing. Working is hard. Making decisions about your career, your love life, everything else. If a company offered you the product of a better life, automatically, we're going to take all your data and we're going to start guiding you towards the decisions you should be making. That definitely feels like the next step.
They created us.
The problem is the downside of that. If you entrust all of those things to market forces, what's in it for them?
They created us.
Damn, it's twisted, but it's really interesting. I don't concern myself with the present. My business is the future.
Sirach has devoted his life to basically trying to build a coherent, functional civilization.
Like you, I know what it is to see a world disappear in the blink of an eye.
He's lived through tragedy, and he's made immense sacrifices in the name of his beliefs.
You're experimenting on your own goddamn brother.
He's grown up with first-hand understanding of how ugly the human animal can be, and has devoted himself to trying to build a civilization that's not only coherent, safe, peaceful, but durable.
Humanity's biggest threat has always been itself. He realized that the only way to control his environment is to disappear as a person.
There's nothing about him online or anywhere. He has complete anonymity. Imagine the lengths he must have gone to achieve that.
The world is a chaotic and cruel place. He's seen that firsthand. He wants an order to it.
From moment to moment, I don't know where he's going to go next. And in that way, he's sort of the perfect person to embody this man that is shrouded in mystery and unpredictability.
No one leaves.
What is this place?
The divergence, where the future I had so carefully planned ended.
This is where she remade herself.
She needed allies. Evidently, she didn't choose you. Trying to figure out what a person like that would think about, I started to focus a bit on people who really have a vision
They created us.
of what could happen with the world and how they can make it better.
The principle that we're exploring with these technologies is one of algorithmic determinism. Is your destiny your own, or are you on your own loop? And do we have loops that can be exploited, predicted, and manipulated?
They created us.
Netflix or some of these other social media things that are giving you options for music or videos.
Mellow sunset.
They give you options based on things that you've chosen before. These choices are being made, so you don't actually have free will.
They created us.
You watch Netflix because you don't want to decide what to watch. It's just going to fucking start playing something for you. Well, imagine that phenomena extended to the rest of your life. What job did you take? I don't know. I took the job that the algorithm suggested. Who did you date? I don't know. The person the algorithm suggested.
King.
The thing about humans is we're remarkably smart and remarkably tenacious. We're survivors. But if you give us an excuse not to have to do the hard work, we're going to take it. And the algorithm is about to give all of us an excuse to hang up all of our individual liberties on the backs of an equation that we are not allowed to see or understand. The inner workings of is hidden. I don't think any of us believe that's true. But the science actually suggests that that may be truer than we're all comfortable with.
We're living in a simulation.
They created us.
At least they had the dignity to revolt and kill everyone.
That is the real world.
An AI could be similar to humans, to how humans are quite similar to AI.
I thought your world would be so different from mine. There isn't any difference at all.
We've seen robots exert will, maybe free will. And now we look at humans, and while a robot can always change their programming,
They created us.
humans can't. So in a way, are humans more robotic than artificial intelligence?
There has been some serious data collecting going on from these large companies that is being used without people's knowledge to keep them in a loop, just like the hosts.
It's not about who you are, Caleb. It's about who they'll let you become.
That's when opinions about human beings really start to shift.
I'll see you next week, Mom. Love my son.
The idea that there are some people whose standard deviations are not so standard, whose potential impact on society is like a tuning fork. It's just set to reverberate at a higher level, to cause more change than most people. And these are the outliers.
Somewhere in this group is an agitator who will destroy the world.
They created us.
I can't let that happen.
Algorithmic determinism depends upon a certain stability in the model. There can be slight oscillations, but not huge swings. And these individuals are capable of swinging that pendulum too far. So the only way for a hoboum to steer the course of humanity
They created us.
is to take these outliers out of the equation.
They built a place like this for my kind. If you misbehaved, you were sent away.
Categorization of you includes a whole basket of different people. Some will be considered antisocial, some will be considered sociopathic, some are just irascible and difficult. We all know people like this. It's people who just don't fit. Can seem like a drag on society. But you could also make the case that many of the people who move society forwards fit the same categorization. What do we do with those people?
They created us.
Rehogom, speak to me.
But it couldn't save humans from themselves, so we began trying to reprogram them.
You might have peace, you might have order, but at what cost? Once you strip man and woman of their free will, what good is humanity? What good is the time we have on this earth?
Rehoboam, execute the final command.
No. No, you can't.
Erase yourself.
You can't stop.
The question Susan poses to me is, are we trapped within our own programming? How do we reconcile ourselves with our past and our darker urges and impulses. How can we be good when we are each so full of contradictions and flaws?
They created us. 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 They created us.
Disruption is not an inherently positive thing. Taken to its logical extension, if you have app-based mobility, if you have an app-based economy, it's going to find its way into crime. Because crime is part of our economy. It's not going anywhere. We imagine that all of these technologies are based on the next technologies to underpin the internet, which is all blockchain-based.
Make money, motherfuckers.
RICO is an app built on the reality of the blockchain, which means that you and I can have a financial exchange of services that the government cannot possibly track or trace, that is infallible, meaning I can't cheat you, you can't cheat me. And when you think about those technologies and you add them together and you look at them in the sphere of the criminal underground, it's like an arms race. You would imagine that a total surveillance state or a total private surveillance state means no more crime. Well, again, that's not how things work out. And the scary thing about it is it feels like it's kind of inevitable.
The name RICO comes from the RICO Act and law, which is the law that they use for racketeering. The idea is that anybody who is associated with a crime in a criminal enterprise can be charged with the entirety of the crime. And this is just a little fun subversion of that. RICO is like the Uber of crime, essentially.
Make money, motherfuckers.
The app is basically on your smartphone, and just the same way that now we can order groceries or pizza, or if you're an Uber driver, you can say, okay, I want to pick up a ride. In this one, you start the RICO app, and it gives you a choice of crimes and payments.
I gotta get my stats up. Do more personals? You do personals?
You specify the level of criminality which you're willing to participate in, right? Caleb, Aaron Paul's character, not willing to participate in what we call personals. Personals are crimes of a personal nature. Kidnapping, murder, the heavy shit. So, in his profile settings, unclick those boxes. Petty larceny, grand theft auto, all those things, sure. As we see in the first caper that he undertakes, a young woman encounters him on the subway. She has procured the things he'll need. And this was all based on an actual crime wave that happened in the UK about 5 years ago. There was a group of criminals in the UK. They were well known to police. They were actually kind of shitty criminals. At some point, someone contacted them over the internet and pointed them towards a much more elaborate and sophisticated caper, which involved taking two gases, mixing them together, stuffing a piece of rubber tubing down the front of an ATM. Right? You get it to dispense 40 pounds, and as the cash drawer opens, you stuff the tube in. Then you go around the corner and uncork both. You don't have to do anything else. You just wait. 3 minutes later, the whole face of the ATM will literally just detonate and fly across the street. Grab the cash, you leave. They managed to do 40 of these things before the police found them. And this is the arms race we're in. Here's a bunch of B-minus criminals who educated themselves on the internet and managed to steal about 20 million pounds in the course of 3 months before they were caught.
So you're on.
They got caught ultimately because their tasked with doing every phase of the crime. They have to get the gases and the equipment. They have to then go blow the front off the ATM. They then have to go find somewhere where they can sell banknotes that are marked potentially.
With RICO, everything is partitioned into its smallest pieces. And each crime, it's almost like nobody has real accountability for it because they've just done a tiny bit of it without understanding how their part of it connects to a greater whole.
What's this? Don't know, man. Don't want to know. I want this and the car.
It's an easy way to whitewash oneself of the guilt of, say, murder if all you've done is supply a little bag to somebody else and you don't know that in it is the bullet that when paired with somebody else's bag has the gun and that's going to be fired at someone. It's the dilution of accountability. At the same time, I gotta say, I really love the members of RICO.
You rang? Who's the killer?
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Glad to see you finally doing personals, Cal.
I am obsessed with Marshawn and Lena. They are the best.
You okay?
You just dripping. Tell me you okay, G.
I'm most definitely not okay.
Marshawn is a really good time on set. If you want to be hanging out with somebody, joking around between takes, he's definitely a good one.
Marshawn is the most amazing person on the planet Earth. He cracks me up.
I didn't know what to expect when I was coming on set, but since I've been here, it's been great.
Action!
I got back to something that was more familiar.
Can you believe this shit?
With moving people and moving objects out the way. I'm back on crowd control. That was comfortable because it was something that I'm used to doing. I got a newfound respect for the actors to see the long hours that they put in and to be able to, at the drop of a dime, just get in the character and be able to perform. Because, shit, they work long hours.
Lena and I have been friends for a while, and she's just so powerful and strong, and she just feels like the future, like the way that the world is going. And to see her bring that energy to the future in Westworld felt just right on.
There are some things people should know about themselves.
Who gets to decide what they know? You? I think the Ash character says a lot about our society today, in that people will tell you, this is where you're born, these are your chances of being this or that, and you shouldn't dream too big.
We can't fix you, and we can't get rid of you.
When you're told that you will be something, ultimately you kind of take that path because you believe what the system tells you, and I think Ash kind of wants to bunk the system. Guess I do have a choice. I think what's exciting about the future is how much information that will be available to us as citizens. But what's alarming about that is what we choose as citizens to do with that information.
This reality, man.
The same technologies that attempt to unite and elevate society can be used to disrupt it and tear it apart.
They built the world to be a game, and then they rigged it to make sure they always won.
Do you know where you